All right, man, peace. You know, brother, just listening to much of Kevin Durant's rhetoric in regards to his impending free agency, it's becoming more and more apparent to me that he's certainly planning on leaving and that he's still considering Golden State. But at this point in his career, especially if they win the championship, more likely than not, he is going to leave. He recently stated that should he decide to depart from Golden State like he did Oklahoma City, that he's going to be far more transparent in regards to the reason why he left. Just for him to put that out there, just for him to allow that sentiment to be made public, is telling me that he's already considered why he should leave Golden State. And to me, it's going to be because he has his 3 championships and he's going to try to follow after the paradigm created by LeBron James of going somewhere else and seeing if you could lead a team on your own to just 1 championship. Because he knows that at the end of his career, if he can get just 1 by himself, that's going to validate the first 3 with Golden State. So anyway, they're going to talk about it, and I'm going to chime in.
Vincent, some of you at home may have heard that Kevin Durant is going to be a free agent this summer. We mentioned it once, twice, yes. 18 times. And it's only September, and we're talking about July. Katie wants...
Kevin Durant reminds me of that wife at home that the husband comes in, and he has to say, honey, you look great in that dress. Honey, the food tastes great. Even though the wife is a 10 out of 10 and she's a chef, she constantly has to be told how beautiful she is and how good the food is that she's cooking, because she just has so many self-doubts about herself, even though everyone else around her realizes how great she is. You can tell by how the Golden State Warriors treat him. They're always putting their hands on his shoulders. They're always putting their arms around his neck. It's like they're constantly trying to reinforce to Kevin Durant that they welcome him there, that they value his presence, that they know how great he is. Once again, it's very apparent to me that Kevin Durant's number 1 option will be to leave. I'm not saying that he's definitely going to leave, but it just seems like he's setting the stage to let people understand that should he leave, don't be surprised.
Wants to handle the process differently this time around. He told our Nick Friedel that he wants to be more honest than he was back in 2016 when he left OKC for the Warriors. And by the way, that did not to imply he was being dishonest. I think he just wants to be more transparent, right, this time. And he said, my thing is just be honest. I was honest with my decision, but just like outwardly, if people ask me about it, don't be ashamed to talk about why I decided to move teams, switch teams, say...
Well, first off, brother, you were not honest about why you left Oklahoma City. You were embarrassed about the real reason why you left. That's why you created all those burner accounts in the first place. The real reason why you left was because you did not think that you could win a championship with Russell Westbrook, and you felt like it basically became just you 2 guys against all the other top teams in the league. And then the fact that it was just you 2 guys and the other guy, Russell Westbrook, had a very low basketball IQ. You realized that you were never going to be able to get to the top with him as your point guard. And to be quite frank with you, brother, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Because you basically went from dating a 6.5 to a 10 out of 10 in Golden State. I'm not sure if there's another team in history that acquired a great player who fit in as well as Kevin Durant has fit in with Golden State. Like, when you think about the history of the NBA and players that were acquired by teams and that player was able to take them over the hump, who was already an established NBA player, you're basically talking about Moses Malone and you're talking about Kevin Durant. I mean, I don't even count LeBron, because it wasn't like Miami was right on the cusp before he got there. Like, I'm just talking about teams that were right there on the cusp of winning, and they were able to acquire, if not the best player in the NBA, one of the top 2 or 3 best players. Just off the top of my head, I'm thinking about the Philadelphia 76ers acquiring Moses Malone in 1982, and the Golden State Warriors getting Kevin Durant.
Saying it's not the end of the world. I didn't do anything against the law, you know what I'm saying? That's what I thought happened.
And I guess you could also throw Wilt Chamberlain in there, who went to the Lakers, I believe, in 1968. But it took them, I think, 5 years to get to the promised land with Wilt.
The first time. So, my, like, Katie to English translation on that?
I think he's saying, by not being honest, that he didn't come out and say, I'm going to the Warriors because I didn't want to play with Russ. I mean, that probably would have been the most honest answer, right?
Right, but he claims that he was honest when he wasn't about that. He was never honest. So I think that he's just saying that when he decides to leave Golden State, he's going to let it be known. The reason why I'm leaving is because it's time for me to find my own path. I'm thankful to Golden State for showing me a higher level of basketball. And now I'm going to try to take the understanding, the wisdom, and the knowledge that I was able to attain in my 3 years there and take it to a whole nother level with another team.
I mean, you playing with a superstar point guard to go play with another superstar point guard. So that's...
Well, no, not quite. In Oklahoma City, he was playing with a superstar talent in Russell Westbrook. When he went to Golden State, he went to go join a superstar player. There's a big difference. Russell Westbrook is a superstar talent. Steph Curry is a superstar player.
That's what I take from this when he says being honest. On his next journey, if he goes anywhere else, let's see what he has to say.
I mean, I'm all for honesty and transparency. My thing with Kevin is, I just wish he cared a little less. Like, I just think...
Right, but that's like Kevin Durant saying, you know what, I love you on TV, but I just wish that you sounded a little bit less gay. I mean, it is what it is.
He's a two-time NBA Finals MVP. I mean, kind of unanimously one of the top 3 or 4 players in the world. And, he's got these burner accounts and he's watching the conversation on social media. Like very few people are privileged enough to be as good at his job as he, good at their job as he is at his job. And it's like, who cares?
I know, but that's how you...
Well, I have news for you, so you can't have it both ways. You can't say that you want athletes to take your question seriously, and then when they do take your question seriously, you tell them, I just wish that you didn't take it so seriously. I mean, which one is it? From now on, would you like it to be a situation where you ask Kevin Durant or LeBron James or these other superstar basketball players questions and they just brush you off because they don't care and they disregard you? Or would you like them to read your articles and take what you say seriously and respond in kind to fans and things of that nature? Now, of course, there's a middle ground there, and there should be a middle ground there. And we understand that Kevin Durant is viewed as sensitive, but we also have to understand that that's a part of his DNA. My real issue with Kevin has always been the burner accounts. It's never really been the fact that he's sensitive. It's obvious that he can't change that. He was raised by his mother, and there's not much that he can change about that. But what we know about Kevin Durant is that he seems to be a very good person, at least for all intents and purposes, how this society would evaluate good. He's never involved in any criminality. He's always there to lend a helping hand to his community. That's all you can ask from a person. That's it. So, I mean, it is what it is. If he cares a little bit too much, there are worse vices that people can have.
You feel, I mean, this is the thing. Look, yes, if I was managing his PR or whatever it was, I would say, my advice to you is to do this and this. But I will stand here over and over again and say, we don't get to decide how Kevin Durant feels.
Right.
And if he feels that this bothers him, we don't get to all say, this shouldn't bother you, Kevin. That's how he feels.
I'm saying it the way
I'm not behind a cloak, like you said.
I'm not telling him how he should feel. I'm not one of these guys who feels like,
Well, actually, you are trying to tell him how he should feel. That's basically what you did.
A guy should take loyalty over the money. No, what I'm saying is like if I were his friend.
Right.
If I had a friend who was uncommonly good in a really high-profile field, I would say, hey, it's not about anybody else.
Yeah, I mean...
And that's...
Well, you know what, sir? That's where you may have to reevaluate his upbringing. What you'll often find is that a lot of cats that are raised in environments with a strong patriarchal background, whether it's Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant or even Russell Westbrook, Steph Curry, they oftentimes don't need to be excessively validated. They go out on the court and they know who they are. They know what they bring to the table. Conversely, when you have cats that come from a matriarchal background, it can be the opposite. Sometimes they're constantly looking for validation. They deal with issues of self-doubt no matter how transcendently talented they are, i.e. LeBron James, Kevin Durant, etc.
And that's what I'm saying. I'm not telling he shouldn't be insecure about public perception. It's not, you're right. I don't live in those shoes. What I'm saying is that's what I would prescribe to him as a friend.
I love showing all the Russ thing because I do think what you hit on, Paul, is true. That was obviously a huge subtext of his move. He wouldn't and didn't address it. Russ obviously did address it in his own Russ photography vest wearing ways. And the fact that Kevin wouldn't really talk about it, I think he thought would dampen the conversation. And it's funny, I tell players all the time, just because you're not talking about it doesn't mean the rest of everyone else and the fans aren't talking about it. You can't control the conversation. So the real way to have an influence on what the conversation is to put stuff out there about it and talk about it.
It's going to be very interesting to see how many of these top-level players move teams.
And I think that's what it was. I mean, so what is it going to be this time? If he leaves Golden State, it's not going to be about I didn't win with them or I don't like playing with them. I guess the next conversation, is being honest, is like, oh, I went here for the money, for maybe LA Lakers, maybe New York, maybe for the marketing, the off-the-court stuff.
Or maybe I wanted to be the guy. I'm so sick of everyone saying.
But to Paul's point, I mean, what is...
Hey, brothers, you know what? And this just registered in my mind. Don't be shocked if the Golden State Warriors lose Kevin Durant and make a run at Kawhi Leonard.
What does this sound like? Yeah, it was a money grab. Or, you know what? I liked it in Oakland, but too many cooks in the kitchen. Like what is he going to say?
Well, I mean, I think the Warriors are going to pay him whatever he wants, right?
Most likely, right?
Right.
Most likely.
So I'm not sure it's going to be a money situation. If he leaves, if he might stay, we're not trying to break him up. If he decides.
So why did you say that then? It's obvious that Rachel Nichols is cognizant of the fact that there are many viewers of her show and many of these other shows on ESPN and Fox Sports 1, etc., who are starting to realize, like I've been telling you brothers for a while, that the super liberal sports media, they're obviously trying to engineer many of these players' minds to make them think that they should go to other places or leave dominant teams to open up the opportunity for their boo thing, LeBron James, to win. LeBron is very, very far from being able to win another championship. Unless the LA Lakers can pull off a mega trade, I just don't see it over the course of these 4 years. But we'll see, because I don't think that they're going to be able to sign another superstar to team alongside him. But who knows? Who knows what Durant has planned? But once again, watch for that. Especially if Durant goes and signs with the Lakers, look for the Golden State Warriors to try to sign Kawhi Leonard.
He decides to leave, which is what he's addressing here. I assume it would be some version of, hey, I've done this with a group of people, and there's obviously been a lot of static about the super team, and I want to try something new on my own.
I think it'll be all about his brand.
Yeah.
You know, getting to himself, creating his brand, making it even bigger. You know, because he's on the stage with the Beatles right now.
Right.
I mean, he's sharing the stage with 3 other guys. So it's about maybe going solo and just blowing up his brand as he faces the downward slate of his career when he gets up to be 35, 36.
His Paul McCartney in the wings phase.
There you go.
Okay.
You guys can be his advisors, and that's it. I like that whole band going solo analogy. It was very good. You should call Katie and give that to him. That was good.
That's what most of the great ones do.
That's right.
Go solo eventually.
Let's talk about how
I agree with that, sir. Eventually they will go solo, especially around the time period in their career where Kevin Durant is right now. And due to the fact that so many of these players are coming into the NBA either directly from high school or after just 1 year in college, it's actually reeling back that time period. Because normally, like back in the day, back in the 90s, a lot of these players would try to look for greener pastures when they were around 29 or 30. Durant decided to do it when he was like 26, 27. And then those players might get desperate and try to find another team to link up on to go for their ring chase at 33, 34, like a Charles Barkley or players like that, or Clyde Drexler, who happen to be fortunate enough to be traded to the Houston Rockets. But I'm sure that Clyde probably went up to the front office of the Portland Trail Blazers and said, I want to be traded. It's just that back then it probably just was not public. Either way, due to the fact that so many players today, they come out so early, is actually real things backwards in regards to the decisions that they make. So we'll see what Kevin Durant decides to do after this season. Peace.